Hi, Marley. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Alec?
Great, thank you. Beautiful Sahara 3.0 CS. And I know you and Al have owned it for many, many years, especially, of course, Al. Take us back in time. Tell us about Al, the car, you, everybody, everything, the kids, everything.
Well, when Al bought the car, it was Al and I are second marriage, and he was then married to Jackie. And when he bought it in '73, he leased it because back in that time you could write your luxury car, anything off 100% for your business, and so Al took full advantage of that. And then after the lease was up, he of course bought it off the lease because there was no going back at that point for him with BMWs, and so that's why after 10 years he bought a second one. And again, the tax system was still being very gracious to business owners, and so Baby sort of went in the garage and became the weekend car, and the 633 became his daily commute car. His commute was from basically the Franklin Hills to downtown Los Angeles, and that was his commute for literally 40 years. And so there was no long-term driving involved with either of his cars at that point. There was just something special about that car, that everybody loved it because of the visibility and all of it. It was just it really was like a member of the family. And when Jackie passed away and Al and I got together a couple of years later, it was interesting. I was like, I'm not sure who comes first in this relationship, but yeah, it certainly meant a lot to him, and I learned how to respect it and take care of it also. And Al was a pilot, and pilots, if you know any, are very cautious people. Thank goodness. And he treated that car the way he treated his Bonanza. He just took immaculate care of it, and always tried to do the right thing with whatever it was, to go to the best body shop, to go to, when he did the upholstery, he researched it for months before he made decisions. And so it was just always cared for, basically the way he cared for me, with a lot of love and research. Well, he didn't research me, but anyway, yeah. And family drives. Well, Al only has one daughter. She lives in Palm Springs, and Lisa does remember, going for Sunday drives in the car. They had another car that was really more of the family car at that time, and so it was just Sunday drives that stick to her in her memory, in the 3.0. So, her memory is not as vivid as it would be with the old Jeep they had and that kind of thing. But, and it was an LA car. It's, shipped in from Germany straight to LA, as you said, the Pontiac dealership in Glendale, and because they didn't even have dealerships yet. And so I always thought that was kind of interesting. He went to his Pontiac dealer to get a BMW. But anyway.
Okay, great. So we'll pause in between. I'll quiet down so they can answer. So tell us about Al. You said he commuted. What work did he do? I know he's a pilot, but was that his trade, or is that for just hobby?
No, he was just a private pilot. That was just another passion of his. He owned a office supply distributor in Los Angeles. It was called Tri-West Associates, and it was downtown. And he was there he was in the business before he bought it, and so it was his lifetime career was office supplies, and he retired from that office in LA. When he and I got married, he moved up to Northern California, but he continued working in the industry basically until the day he died. He was in the industry for 64 years, and and he loved it, and it also gave him a lot of time to do the things he loved, diving and flying and driving his BMWs. So,
beautiful. How old was he when he passed away?
87.
87. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Great. Give us a couple of memories of you guys. I know you told me you drove up and down the coast and different long trips. Tell us about those.
Well, in 2001, when Al and I married, he moved to Northern California because I still had sons in school, and so it made more sense. And we took one of our favorite trips of all by driving baby north, and we took a week and just traveled every back road, Highway 1 all the way pretty much, but then, detours here and there to enjoy and see places, the missions and that kind of thing. And that's where some of the best photographs that you'll see on the site on that came from, was that trip. With Big Sur in the background, and some beautiful scenery with Al posing, and that probably is one of the most memorable trips. He also had driven the car, he had a duck club he was a member of, and they used to go duck hunting, and that's what I think. There's one picture that I sent you of he and the guys up at the duck club, and that's the snow picture, I think, and that was the same year he bought the car. And it was interesting because among the guys that were his friends, it was kind of like every time somebody had the opportunity that he'd let them drive the car, those guys ended up buying one within the year. It was like, I gotta have this. And he always describes that moment for him when he drove his first BMW, and it was basically that same model. And they were coming back from Mexico at that point, and his friend said, "Here, you take the wheel." And he said, after that, no more Pontiacs. So, yeah,
beautiful. So we are selling the car as of course, original owner, one owner. Tell us about how when Al added you as your spouse to the title, and you guys both own together, and now you're handing it off as the original owner to the next custodian. So tell us about that. You were married for 20 some years, 30 years?
Yeah. And when we got married, Al and I, we had known each other previously many years before and just went our separate ways. And then when we got back together all those years later, both of our spouses died the same year. A lot of interesting coincidences in our lives brought us back together. And at that point, everything became one. We merged everything, my business, his business, our cars, everything. And so putting me on the title was almost like signing the marriage certificate for me, because when he said that, I knew, okay, this is commitment. So, I've been on the title since then, and it was, for multiple reasons, but I think also it was just Al's way of letting me know how committed he was.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Fantastic. So, just so you know, I have the same feelings. My own mother passed away 7-8 months ago, and I still feel her soul around the house and where we are and all. I can tell you this: I've had Al's car or your car for a few months now. I definitely feel his presence and soul in the car. I'm not kidding. I feel it when I drive it. It's there.
Yeah.
There's a sense of him being next to me when I drive. I see his touch. I see his feelings everywhere. I'm like, this family, you guys sat here for 50 years on and off, and now I'm feeling it. So there's a strong sense of that. Just I want you to know that emotionally.
Well, it's funny. Just as you called me, I was texting you to say I'm feeling Al around me. His presence is just so vivid to me today. It's really, it just all feels right, because I feel like he's saying, yeah, you guys did good, and so I'm glad to hear that you've been feeling that too.
Absolutely.
That photograph of them standing in front of the house in Los Angeles, people, kind of like to know where a car has lived. That is where that car lived for 35 of its years. Literally, that driveway, in the garage in that house. And it's kind of a nice thing to know that it wasn't in Hawaii or Michigan or, and I think you've said that, but it's just kind of fun to see the actual house, the actual garage it was kept in, which that photograph represents. The house is still there up in the hills, and I drive by every time I'm in town just to say hi.
Beautiful.
Okay.
And I thank you for doing this with me. I appreciate it.
I really I searched you out for a reason, and I just felt it immediately when I followed your comments on that. You were the kind of person I wanted representing me, because you're fair and you're thorough and you know your stuff. So
thank you.
I'm excited about this, and it'll be fun to watch the comments. It is fun to follow along. So we'll see. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I have to say it's the first one I've seen that says original owner. So that ought to get some fire going.
For sure, it will. Thank you, Molly,
Yeah.
for the conversation. I'm going to start recording now.